Welcome back to our channel. Today, we dive deep into a shocking story that's shaking the music industry to its core, the Al Music scam. How AI-generated artists are tricking streaming services and stealing millions from hard-working musicians. Buckle up, because you're not going to want to miss this jaw-dropping saga. Did you know that over 600 million of us are using paid music subscriptions? That's right. With platforms like Spotify, Apple Music, and YouTube Music, the streaming revolution has transformed how musicians earn their keep. Or has it? As I scroll through my social media feeds, I'm bombarded with videos sharing how to trick Spotify and game the system. But let me ask you this. What if some of that money is trickling down into the pockets of fraudsters? It was absolutely wild to see just how extensive this issue really is. Streaming music now accounts for more than 2/3 of the global music industry's revenue, a staggering transformation that's injecting billions of dollars into the economy. But in a groundbreaking case, one musician in the US has been charged with streaming fraud and faces serious consequences. Meet Mike Smith, a musician who seemed to have made it big. Over 200,000 followers on social media, collaborations with major artists, and a booming career. But now, he faces up to 60 years behind bars if convicted. Smith has pleaded not guilty to all charges, but what is he accused of doing? To truly grasp the allegations against Mike, we need to break down how artists make money from streaming. When you press play on a track, you don't just unlock a song, you dive into an intricate revenue system that's complex and often confusing. Every play contributes to a massive royalty pool, generated from subscriptions and ad revenues. Spotify alone reported paying out an astonishing $9 billion last year. Imagine each grain of rice representing $70,000. That's the scale we're talking about. The distribution of this money depends on how many plays each artist accumulates. If an artist's tracks account for 1% of the total streams, they earn approximately 1% of the money in that pool. But what happens when this system is manipulated? That's where it gets tricky. Mike Smith is accused of using artificial intelligence in a nefarious way. Reports suggest he generated hundreds of thousands of songs using AI tools, then deployed bots to artificially inflate streaming numbers. The FBI claims that through this fraudulent scheme, Mike raked in over $10 million in royalties, a staggering amount that should have gone to legitimate artists, producers, and record labels. To break this down even further, this money represents a significant blow to countless artists who are already scraping by in an industry notorious for its low payouts. Mike's story isn't an isolated case. In fact, music publicist Jonathan Hay, who initially worked closely with Mike, had significant concerns about Mike's practices long before anything became public. Observations he made led him to suspect that something was profoundly amiss in Mike's operations. According to Jonathan, when he first met Mike, everything seemed above board. They collaborated on music projects, and Mike seemed ambitious and talented. However, a few years into their partnership, strange things began to happen. For example, songs that should have been performing well suddenly vanished from the charts without explanation. Jonathan noticed particularly odd patterns surrounding their single Beautiful Day, which, oddly enough, began accumulating streams from places like Vietnam and Pakistan. These anomalies raised red flags, igniting his suspicions. As Jonathan's suspicion escalated, he received alarming messages from distribution companies shutting down their music due to streaming fraud allegations. It became clear to him that the industry landscape was riddled with these attempts to exploit a vulnerable system. Jonathan felt compelled to act after receiving repeated warnings about streaming fraud and eventually sought help from the FBI. He realized he could no longer stay silent while his career, along with many honest musicians, was jeopardized by Mike's actions. Emails obtained by the FBI revealed that Mike allegedly boasted about generating a staggering $12 million in royalties since 2019. This wasn't just a simple scheme. It was a calculated operation that utilized technology to exploit a vulnerable system. Smith used fictitious band names. Think Callous Post, Calorie Screams, and Calvinistic Dust, to disguise his true intentions. The AI churned out track names resembling gibberish, like zygotic washstands, zymotechnical, and zygophyllum, which somehow topped the charts on major platforms. The lengths that he and his accomplices went to were astonishing. They created roughly 10,000 fake profiles to help stream their so-called music. By carefully distributing streams across thousands of songs, they managed to evade detection, always staying one step ahead of the algorithms designed to protect innocent artists from exploitation. So, what does this mean for Mike? As of now, he faces serious charges, wire fraud, and money laundering conspiracy. Each count carries a maximum penalty of 20 years in prison. His legal team insists that these accusations are unprecedented in the music industry and that Mike looks forward to confronting them in court. Despite the serious allegations against him, some supporters view Mike as a misunderstood underdog. Let's look at Goldilocks, an artist who had a different perspective on this controversy. Goldie believes that while Mike might have acted unscrupulously, the industry itself needs a major overhaul. Yet some questions linger. How do we protect the billions of dollars that go to artists from being siphoned off by people abusing technology? Can justice be served in a system that perhaps isn't even designed to track this kind of fraud effectively? Consider this. If Mike is convicted, it might set a precedent that prosecution of streaming fraud is not only possible but necessary. Could this case become a turning point in how streaming services monitor and compensate genuine artists? With the ongoing advances in AI technology, will we see more cases like Mike Smith's? Only time will tell. So what are your thoughts on this complex web of deception in the music industry? Is Mike Smith a scam artist, or is he merely a product of a deeply flawed system? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. And don't forget to hit that subscribe button to stay in the loop on all things music, even the scandalous ones. Thanks for joining us today. Until next time, keep vibing to authentic music. And remember, there's always more than meets the eye.